राते जी, राजेंद्र कुमार जी, राघवेंद्र जी, नीरज कुमार जी, आशुतोष, my fellow panelists, Madam Nuzahat Parveen and Anurag Deep, and all of the consultants, especially Shikha and others who are working with this, and all the viewers who are there right across the country. Uh, I'm happy that this initiative has been taken up by the Department of Justice. हम एक लोकतंत्र हैं, वी आर ए डेमोक्रेसी, और इस एज ए डेमोक्रेसी हमें अपना देश को कैसे बनाना है, उसको बड़ा करना है और लोगों के साथ लेके चलना में, तो सबसे मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट मेक्स हाउ वी आर ए डेमोक्रेसी हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में दिया हुआ है, हमारे संविधान में दिया हुआ है, और दैट इज हाउ वी नो what how the democracy we are as a functioning democracy, because in the constitution we have given practically everything functions, every law जो हम हर कानून बनता है वो हमारे संविधान के उस दायरे से से कनेक्शन से बनता है, वहाँ भी that originates from there, whether it is लेजिस्लेचर, एग्जीक्यूटिव, जुडिशरी, हमारे जजों के बारे में सब कुछ दिया हुआ है, पार्लियामेंट कैसे फंक्शन करना है, कितना मेंबर होने हैं, और स्टेट असेंबलीज कैसे होना है, और एग्जीक्यूटिव गवर्नर्स पोजीशन, प्रेसिडेंट्स पे सब कुछ हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से ही जुड़ के आया है. ये हमने एक बहुत बेहतरीन डॉक्यूमेंट बनाया, और सालों साल हमने इस पे आगे अमेंडमेंट्स लाके इसको बहुत और तरीके से, जैसे एज पर द टाइम्स वी हैव मूव टू इम्प्रूव द एंटायर डॉक्यूमेंट. सो इन सो फार डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी है. अभी आपने फंडामेंटल राइट्स सुना, फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी सुना. डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी क्या है? इट इज द डायरेक्शंस एंड द प्रिंसिपल्स एंड द इश्यूज which a state government or even the central government should keep in mind while it is governing the country. इसमें वो चीज़ें दी हुई हैं जिस जो चीज़ें. So can we go to the next slide please? Now जो B.N. Rao थे, हमारे जो some of those people who made the Constitution of India, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, one of the greatest legal genius India has ever produced, was given the chief architect, and then there were other persons and who say. So we have the directives principles are moral percepts of the authorities of state. किस मॉरल, किस हमारे को जो हमारे मॉरल्स रहना चाहिए, जो प्रिंसिपल्स जिसके ऊपर हम डिपेंड करके इनको स्टेट को गवर्न करना चाहिए, वो सब दिए हुआ है. एंड ही वाज आल्सो अ पार्ट ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन असेंबली, एंड दे आर मेंशन्ड फ्रॉम आर्टिकल 36 to 51. एंड हमने ये आयरलैंड और स्पेनिश कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो जिससे लेके इनको अडॉप्ट किया है, हमने अपने तरीके से वी हैव पुट देम टुगेदर. दे इम्पोज मॉरल ऑब्लिगेशन ऑन द स्टेट एंड क्रिएट वेलफेयर स्टेट, बिकॉज एसेंशियली एज ए डेमोक्रेसी आवर ग्रेटेस्ट एम इज वी आर ए सोशलिस्ट, sovereign socialist secular democratic republic. तो socialism is a part of it and welfare state is a concept. तो हमारे को हर सिटीजन का वेलफेयर देखना है, और ये सब चीज़ें हमारी डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स हमें ये दिखाती हैं कि हम इस मॉरल से, इस तरीके से हम सारा सिटीजन्स का वेलफेयर देखे जाए. तो देयर वाज द सप्रू रिपोर्ट इन 1945, उन्होंने इस चीज़ को देखा. तो उस वक्त हमारे पास पॉसिटी ऑफ फाइनेंसेस, पॉसिटी ऑफ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सब देख के इन्होंने नॉन जस्टिसेबल किया. दे आर जस्ट गिवन गाइडेंस, बट ये कुछ इसके कानून भी बन गए हैं, लाइक राइट टू एजुकेशन. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. नाउ इट इज द बेसिक्स जो हमारे प्रियम्बल, अभी हमने सब पढ़ के देखा कि प्रियम्बल इज जस्टिस, लिबर्टी, इक्वालिटी. इन सब को किस तरीके से एक स्टेट गवर्नमेंट या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इसको किस तरह से अपने को देती है अपने सिटीजन्स को, विच वी प्रोवाइड आर गिवन इन द डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी. इसमें हमने सोशलिस्टिक प्रिंसिपल्स लिया जो हमारे प्रियम्बल में दिया हुआ है, जो हमारी डेमोक्रेटिक फंक्शनिंग है, हमारा देश का बेसिस है. Gandhian, जो गांधी जी who brought who won us the freedom, and liberal intellectual principles, that means कि हम एक फ्री सोसाइटी है. डेमोक्रेसी का मतलब ये है कि एक टोटलिटेरियन सोसाइटी की जगह हम liberal intellectual principles का मतलब we are free society, we are not governed by like totalitarian societies, some of which we have seen either in Middle East or in even some other neighboring countries where there is totalitarianism. So we give the freedom of the individual the greatest significance and importance, and we do everything for the freedom of the citizens and their welfare. That is what is enshrined in the directive. Next slide, please. 36 में हमने अपना स्टेट पॉलिसी का मतलब कौन सा क्या है, व्हाट वी हैव गिवन देम. इट मेंशन टू कैरेक्टर एंड इट इज नॉट एनफोर्सेबल, बट दैट इज वी हैव गॉन बियॉन्ड दैट. जो मैंने अभी बताया, अभी लीगल हम लॉज लेके आए हैं और इट इज बेसिस एंड एसेंशियल फॉर द गवर्नेंस ऑफ द कंट्री. तो हम नेशन बिल्डिंग इसीलिए इसी तरह से कर पाते हैं जिस तरह से हम इन सब प्रिंसिपल्स को वी टेक देम इनटू अकाउंट एंड वी यूज देम to govern the country. Next slide, please. 36, 37 ये दिया. Then socialistic principles जो बोलते हैं, socialism का क्या मतलब है कि सबका भलाई, सबका taking everybody. So securing a social order through justice, social, economic and political, and to minimize inequalities of income, status, facilities and जो हमारे पहले जब as independence था, we had a very large section which was very poor, and we had a very large, very small section which was very rich. So we have to bring the inequalities और बराबरी का एक तरीका से हम ये through these principles we use. One is right to adequate means of livelihood, सबका, so that everybody is employed, gainfully employed, they are able to earn. Equitable distribution, there should not be a haphazard distribution, everybody should be taken care of, and there should not be monopolies where there are too rich people and too poor people. Concentration of wealth, we try to give everybody through means of taxation, through means of other means. अभी हमने CSR, जो CSR है, corporate social responsibility, is based on this कि हर corporate का entity कुछ ना कुछ सोशल वेलफेयर एक्टिविटी भी करे. अपनी जो उन्होंने अपना दौलत कमाया है उसको किस तरह से देश को दे, वो ये सब इसी से आया है. इक्वल पे फॉर इक्वल वर्क फॉर मेन एंड वुमेन. हम वी डोंट वांट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन. मैडम ने इतना, शी इज अ वुमेन्स राइट्स चैंपियन, शी हैज जस्ट टोल्ड यू. देन प्रिजर्वेशन ऑफ हेल्थ, हमारा हेल्थ अभी कोविड ये सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये हम ज़्यादा और ध्यान देते तो अभी, बट स्टिल वी हैव डन अ ग्रेट जॉब वैक्सीनेशन के लिए सारा देश का. सो दैट इज द थिंग. चिल्ड्रन वर्कर्स एंड चिल्ड्रन एंड अगेंस्ट फोर्सिबल अब्यूज. पहले बंधुआ मुक्ति होता था. आई माई सेल्फ वेंट एज अ कमिश्नर इन सर्टन बरेली एंड अदर डीपर इंटीरियर पार्ट्स वेयर देयर वर बॉन्डेड लेबर. वी वेंट एंड ensured that there is no bonded labor. We sensitized the government, took the power, and then opportunities. Right to education is one of the most examples. She touched upon it. I was a part of the National Alliance on Fundamental Right to Education. So a directive principle was converted into actually a law where free and compulsory education is being given from the age of 6 to 14 to all children, which is a big thing, although it is and we are the leaders in this. I represented India in the UNESCO conferences, in Indonesia, in Brussels, and I'm also a global education law forum vice president in Belgium, and we travel in Amsterdam and other places giving our experience for African countries, etc. Next slide, please. Legal aid, which is what excellent job being done. I will come to a conclusion which I want to give to you. I'm inspired by this, what the work you have done. Right to work, right to education, unemployment and old age sickness. Now we are doing a lot of work in people who are elderly, senior citizens, giving them the tax benefits, giving them all kinds of support. Police people, they are given the job of seeing whoever are the elderly and living alone. Some of the children go away. A lot of work is being done into ensuring the old age people. All of this is because of what we have already taken up as in a part of our constitution. And right to education already. Next slide, please. Then we not only women's, we've given leave for women's maternity leave, etc. Then even the conditions of factories, workers' conditions, providing some kind of support to them. Some women working, their children creche and all, in many factories and other places. All of these are they are a directive for the state to ensure that these things are done. They by various means they will do. Then worker management, Of course, we have to have a healthy relationship between the workers and the employers. That comes from here. Nutrition and midday meals, all these schemes that are there, which are being, this is again from the directive state. It is not imagined. These are every practical aspect of governance has been taken care. And we have also taken care to amend this to give it to give the welfare of the people as as we go by. Next slide, please. Then the Gandhian principle, the third one which we have said, village panchayats, it has been a big movement to ensure that the village panchayats are self-governing, they take care of their own. These days, some of the most educated people have started becoming the village. There's a lady village panchayat, the head in Rajasthan. She's been doing such good work. Our villages have become modernized. Our villages have becoming for self-governing. They've been getting modern facilities. Some of you may be even connecting them through video conferences and all. How we are working towards that. Cottage industries, we are giving great. If you go even in Karnataka side, we have, or even in Orissa, we have these small scale industries which are giving, whether they are household items, whether they are clothing. All of this great promotion is given, which is what Gandhiji was promoting, so that everybody has a livelihood. If they are, then we have democratic cooperatives. Recently we had some farm agitation, but it was solved. And we were seeing some of the cooperatives were not functioning properly. Then educational and interests of 46 says SC, STs and other sections of the society, we give them reservation, we give them opportunity to study, scholarships, etc. Next slide, please. Then we are very conscious of the fact. If you know, I have done some cases for the government for the Narcotic Control Bureau, that there is absolutely no tolerance, even by the courts. They don't get bail in the cases of drug abuse or alcohol consumption to people of a younger age. We've worked a great deal to ensure that they're educated. There are also, small, ill effects of alcohol. Of course, the stickers are also there. But some of the alcohol have also giving literature with respect to, alcohol abuse. It is a great problem. But some places, the state ensures that the husband or whoever are becoming alcoholics, they come and, protect the family, give them guidance. Then, of course, one of the important things, and many people don't know, because you see, I have seen in villages, and some of you may have experienced, why the slaughter of cows and all the animals are there. They're a support system for the poor villagers. Many of them will sell their cow to be slaughtered, and they will be left with nothing. At least they will get nutrition, the milk, and they'll be able to earn some livelihood. Perhaps that is the reason why, more than the religious aspect. Of course, the religious aspect is for the purpose of ensure that the cows, which is they call it Kam Dhenu, which gives therefore these things have evolved over the years, and it is a part of the directive state of principle, the prohibition of cow slaughter. And many people don't know about this. And through this medium, they will know that we, as far back when the Constituent Assembly was there, we introduced an Article 48 for that. Next slide, please. Then Uniform Civil Code is the reason. I've done a recent article on written an article which is published in a law magazine in India on uniform. The reason is that some of these things don't really need religion as a backing. They need that children should be maintained. Whether if there is a divorce, their maintenance should be provided. So in matrimonial laws, the Uniform Civil Code is so good for each family or those who go through it, and they are taken care of. It's a welfare of the citizens that we ask for uniform. Many people think that there is a religious continuity. It is not for that purpose. It is that in the Shabano case, etc. Subsequently, the women protested and said, no, we will need maintenance. We can't be governed by some law which is ancient. We need reform. All of this provides religious, some of this gives us religious reform, political reform, social reform, economic reform. All of this have to be incorporated through fundamental duties, directive principles and fundamental rights. Then, of course, the right to education 45. Next slide, please. Agriculture is so important that we have tried to bring reform there. We have through cooperatives, etc. Ancient monuments, historical monuments, We have to preserve the cultural history of the country. Whatever be it is this. Tremendous work has been done by archaeological survey. Tremendous work has been done in keeping our culture alive, trying to improve that. We've got it from here. It is not some government imagined it. It is there in our constitution for those people who don't know that what we do with respect to our cultural heritage is also provided. Then separate judiciary from executive and public service. Now, very important, Article 50 is that independence of judiciary is a very important issue, and you as Department of Justice will know that they are a completely separate organ of the government, because they must do justice. They must not be influenced by anybody, whether it's government, executive or legislative. Should not be. They must do justice, where government is also a litigant there a lot of times, that they should be doing it on the basis of what is true. And that is how we have greatly moved in strides, where the great faith is reposed in the courts. The great faith is reposed in the judiciary, because they are independent and they will take it on the merit of the issue rather than being influenced. If a policy is wrong by the government, they will declare it wrong, or they will suggest amendments. So Article 50 is also again given there. So our entire governance and is based on all of these things which we have. And international peace and security, we are one of the best nations in international peace of security, and we have maintained that. I am Vice President of Indian Society of International Law. I am fully aware how we abide by our foreign obligations, whether it's in payment of loans, to the IMF, to the World Bank. We are always there. We are never defaulting anywhere. Even our human rights record is fantastic. Of course, there will be some criticism, but every government department I've seen does great work, and they try to adhere to the what we have initially taken. And even the ASEAN, we have got credit. That is all in the initial stages which the founding fathers of the constitution have done. Then international treaty obligations and settlement of disputes. We are doing a lot of work in arbitration. We have set up an arbitration center in Hyderabad, which is world class, so that our commercial disputes can be settled fast. We are doing mediation and arbitration in the courts as well, so that the legal aid movement is gained strength and we reduce our burden in the courts. And that is next slide, please. Now, there are some cases. These are the most important cases, which have a few of them that have helped us get over that. And you see, in state of Madras with Champakam, this is a very famous case. Fundamental rights are enforceable and directed, but not. Fundamental rights would prevail over the latter and have to run as a substitute to fundamental. But this has changed. In this they have said the fundamental rights would be reduced to mere rope of sand if they were overridden. This law, which was originally said, has now been changed, and equal importance is being given to directive principles, and the conflict is removed. Then Kerala Education Bill, we have said that, which is out of this came the right to education. This thing held that affirming primacy of fundamental rights or directive principles in those days. Again, we have gone forward beyond this, and because they were in the earlier years. Next slide, please. Then Golaknath case, we have said that there should be an integrated scheme which is elastic enough to respond to this is where is the beginning. Those were the initial years. I'm trying to show that how we have moved from a regime of exclusive fundamental rights and giving lesser importance to directive principles to giving them the equality, which is started from the Golaknath case. Then the Minerva Mills again also said that the harmony and balance between fundamental rights and directive is an essential feature of basic structure of the Constitution. No government can ever amend the fundamental rights and the directive principles of the state policy because it becomes the basic structure of the Constitution. See how our Constitution has responded, how our judiciary has delivered judgments in making directive principles and important things, all of which I have cited, are now the mantra for all state governments to carry out welfare activities to the citizenry of the country. Next slide, please. Then the N.M. Thomas case, they should be, again, you see, now you see after post 72, they said that they should construed in harmony with each other, and every effort should be made by respective courts to resolve any apparent inconsistency that exists between fundamental rights and directive principles. So now it is hand in hand. Directive principles have taken a great importance central to our Constitution. We have we are taking up many things like the right to, now post Justice Bhagwati, after he was there, I went for those some of this bonded labor as a commissioner. I was sent by the court, and then which says Article 21 has become a very important right. It is the right to privacy. All of these rights are emanating the right to live by human dignity, free from exploitation, enshrined in the Article 21, derives its life and breath from the directive principles of state policy. So the importance have gained from strength to strength, and they are on an equal footing. Next judgment, please. The Olga Tellis pavement dwellers, Professor Upendra Bakshi was the one who was behind this. The rights of some of these people who have no place to live, they've all been were taken into account. The court has become more and more responsive to responsive to the citizens' needs, to the welfare of the citizen. That is the thrust of our this thing, which the fundamental rights have given the direction which the courts have interpreted. That is how we have gained the importance on directive principle. Then Charu Khurana's case, which is a very recent case, the Supreme Court of India again highlighted the importance of their existence in Part 3 by observing that fundamental right and directive principle are two wheels of the chariot to establishing an egalitarian social order. So we have come to that point as recently as that they are two wheels of a chariot to give you social order. And then next slide, please. Progress of a nation depends on its people. This is the greatest initiative that the Department of Justice has taken on this magnificent day, which we now celebrate in a big way. They call the Constitution Day, because आज के Constitution 1949 को हुआ, और 1950 Republic Day जो 26 जनवरी को होता है, वो हमारी गणतंत्र जो रिपब्लिक बनते हैं एक फॉर्मली आया है. तो इसको भी उतना ही इंपॉर्टेंस दे के हमें लोगों को सिखाने और उनको हमारे संविधान में क्या लिखा हुआ, एक ये बहुत बड़ी इनिशिएटिव है. और इससे it guides the government to and the citizens also. It gives the direction, it gives the duties, and it guides governments and teaches the decision to fall socially accepted. Next slide, please. I think that well, I've said enough about all that is. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, thank you. And my conclusion, which I just on my while I'm discussing these things, that has come to my mind, that we have a district collector, we have a police chief, we have a judiciary. Like that, we must have a legal aid clinic and education cell, which must be there in every district and must percolate to every village and town where there is the government, which will educate everybody right through the year with their rights and duties. And that can be, you can connect with the NGOs, you can connect with the people, schools and colleges there, and it can percolate to every single child the moment it is there. So if you're able to establish, which you have seemed to have done quite a bit by that, but if you look at it and give them the power status, I think that's a great conclusion and a great takeaway on today's event. I congratulate you once again. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.